The guest received this item from her mother, who bought it from a downtown shop in Anaheim. When her mother showed her this beautiful piece, she instantly knew it had historical value. The appraiser revealed that her mother might have bought it thinking it was a bed sheet, but it was actually an early American bed cover. The square positioning was evidence that it was indeed a bed cover, designed so that when placed on a bed, each square would be oriented correctly for viewing. At the top of the bed cover, 1830 was embroidered, indicating that it was made in 1830. The appraiser further revealed that the piece was likely made on the East Coast, most likely in Massachusetts or Connecticut. Surprisingly, this beautiful piece didn't have an artist's signature. The outer squares were beautifully embroidered with floral designs. The inner squares told a family story, with one square featuring an early American eagle holding a shield and arrows, another depicting a lion. In another box, there were images of 3 men, likely representing a merchant and a military man. A brick home with 3 chimneys suggested that the artist depicted their ancestral home in a very naive style. To the guest's surprise, the appraiser estimated the value of this beautiful art piece to be,
I would say $22,000 to $25,000.
Oh my God. Whoa, I almost took a tumble there.
Many people treasure gifts that reflect their interests and heritage. This guest received today's piece as a wedding present 24 years ago. The piece is an unfired bisque plate commemorating the 100-year anniversary of Texas's birth in 1836. This plate, dating from circa 1936, was used to celebrate the centennial of Texas independence from Mexico and was designed in England by Wedgwood. Featured on the plate are notable Texas figures.
This plate, they have Stephen F. Austin, we have Sam Houston, in the center is the Alamo, and all kinds of other scenes.
Interestingly, this specific plate was once owned by the DAR chapter in Austin, Texas. Unlike the typical blue glazed versions sold at the Centennial, this plate remains unglazed, making it a unique find.
So the plate that was actually sold at the Centennial is blue.
The rarity of this unglazed plate, along with its historical significance and its connection to Texas history and English craftsmanship, would make it worth
would be somewhere between $1,000 and $2,000.
Wow.
Few people can claim to own such a unique historical golf artifact. This guest, however, is one of those rare individuals, having discovered this antique golf ball in an antique store back in 1971. His interest in golf led him to purchase this fascinating feathery golf ball. These types of balls were made using boiled feathers measured with a top hat, then stuffed into a leather cover. This particular ball dates back to the 1830s to 1850, a time when they were used with long-nosed, wooden-shafted clubs in Scotland. Scotland, often regarded as the birthplace of golf, produced these leather-covered balls typically made from bull's hide. Due to their complexity and cost, feather balls were a luxury item reserved for the wealthy.
In those days, a good feather ball maker could only make 3 to 10 balls a day. It was very labor intensive.
These fragile feather balls could be hit up to 200 yards by expert golfers of the time, a far cry from the 300-yard drives common today.
They're only good for about 6 holes of golf, and they would tear and explode.
Today, only a few hundred feather balls are known to exist, making them highly prized by collectors. Given its rarity and historical value, this feather ball is estimated to be worth,
I would probably put about $4,000 to $6,000.
Wow. Very nice.
Heirlooms can tell incredible stories about the past. This guest inherited a unique piece of furniture from her mother-in-law, who was an avid collector. What we're looking at here is a chair table, a multifunctional piece that converts from a table to a chair.
Work table, obviously burn stains, markings.
Probably chopped on it.
Chopped
Did
on,
everything.
Scrubbed.
Despite its worn appearance, the wear and tear add to its charm and history. In the 18th century, space was limited, and such multifunctional furniture was essential in American households. Upon close inspection, it's clear that almost every piece is original except for the turning mechanism, which had to be replaced due to extensive use. The design tradition of this table comes from Northern Europe and England.
It was brought here to the particularly New England, New York colonies by both Dutch and English craftsmen.
When transformed into a chair, the original coloration of the piece, an old red stain, becomes evident, unifying the pine and maple components. The skilled turning work contrasts with the roughly assembled cabinet making, suggesting it was made around 1800. With its historical significance and almost complete original condition, this chair table at auction would be valued at
$2,000 to $3,000, possibly $2,000 to $4,000.
Really?
In 1957, the guest searched for fine original art to adorn his first architectural office and purchased 2 onion skin watercolors by Huey Lee Smith, as they were the best he could afford then. The appraiser confirmed that each piece is an original watercolor on paper by Huey Lee Smith, an artist born in 1915 and who passed away in 1999. Lee Smith, born in Florida, was highly revered in Detroit and was the second African-American artist elected as an associate member of the National Academy of Design. Lee Smith's artworks depicted the plight of socially underprivileged people, issues of poverty and race, and often carried a strange undercurrent of surrealism, creating a sense of brooding and disquiet. The watercolors, signed and dated, represent his early career in the 1940s and 1950s, a period highly valued by collectors. Much to the guest's delight, the appraiser estimated that each watercolor would fetch,
in today's market, you're probably talking about auction estimates for each one of about $10,000 to $15,000.
I think that's fantastic.
The guest inherited this intriguing piece from her husband's father, an antique dealer in Galveston, who left a collection of items when he passed away. The appraiser began by examining the lid of the piece, revealing a mark that read E. Galley Faïencerie, with Nancy underneath.
Faïencerie is another word for a particular type of pottery, and this is Émile Galley, that's his mark. Émile Galley is best known as a glassmaker, working from the town of Nancy in eastern France.
This particular piece, likely from the 1880s or 1890s, is a dressing table box designed to hold small items like pins and jewelry. The appraiser appreciated the shape of the box, which the guest described as a butterfly, but was actually a moth. Galley and other French Art Nouveau designers favored ordinary elements like moths and local flora and fauna. The box's design, including painted insects such as a grasshopper, was influenced by Japanese art, which had a significant impact on Galley at the time. The appraiser clarified that the box was made of faience, a type of pottery with a tin glaze that gives it a bluish-white finish, not glass or porcelain. Much to the guest's satisfaction, he estimated that a piece like this could fetch between...
I think if it came to auction, the low estimate would be $1,000, and the high estimate would be perhaps $1,500.
Very good.
Not every wing chair is as elaborate as this piece on display. This piece, also known as an easy chair, dates back to around 1815 to 1820.
The photo is a picture of my husband taken when he was 2 years old. It was taken in 1926 in the lap of his grandmother in the chair.
It was crafted in New York City and showcases several distinctive motifs typical of the era.
Around 1815 or 20 when this chair was made, and they became influenced by Regency furniture from England.
The monumental size and Greek-inspired styles are evident in its barrel-formed back, reminiscent of designs seen on Greek attic vases. Its klysmos rear leg, which curves back, further exemplifies the Regency and early Greek influence. The drum-form handhold, water-leafed carved urns, and the inlaid crotch-figured rectangle, along with the reeded legs, are hallmark features of New York furniture from this period. Originally, this chair is a symbol of status, often reserved for significant members of a household, and is worth...
This is probably worth in the area of about $20,000.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Well, that is a surprise.
Our guest shares the history of the piece, mentioning it has been in the family since the 1930s and was used as a music stand or record player stand. The appraiser examines the piece, noting its stylistic elements bridging Art Nouveau and arts and crafts styles. They highlight the naturalistic carving and oak material typical of the late 19th century. The appraiser identifies the piece as a music stand or portfolio stand, possibly made around 1905 by Charles Rolfs, an American furniture maker known for his unique and charismatic designs. They point out a cipher under the stand resembling a saw and sickle with an R, which stands for Charles Rolfs, and discuss Rolfs' approach to design. The appraiser praises the mystery and uniqueness of Rolfs' works, noting that his pieces are found in museums across the country and have been featured in major exhibitions. Our guest mentions their husband's desire to discard the piece due to its condition, to which the appraiser humorously responds, estimating the piece's value at auction to be,
I would estimate at auction this piece is worth between $40,000 and $60,000.
Oh my God.
The guest brought this painting by Sidney Lawrence, a famous Alaskan artist, for appraisal. She explained that her husband's great-aunt, a friend of Lawrence, had originally owned this piece. The appraiser noted that Lawrence, contrary to the guest's belief that he was from England, was actually born in Brooklyn in 1865 and spent about 15 years in England before moving to Alaska around 1903 or 1904, where he became a gold prospector and later a renowned artist. The appraiser identified the painting's subject as Indian fish cache, a traditional structure for storing food out of reach of animals. The frame appeared original, with the artist's label on the back, dating the painting back to 1922. Lawrence was particularly known for his paintings of Mount McKinley, now known as Denali, though this painting featured a different subject. The appraiser highlighted the painting's light tonality and the detailed brushwork depicting flowers and smoked fish. When asked about the painting's value, the guest mentioned her husband's estimate of $25,000, though she had no idea of its worth. Much to the guest's satisfaction, the appraiser valued the painting at
auction, I believe it would make somewhere in the region of $8,000 to $12,000. If you wanted to insure it, I would suggest around about $20,000.
Okay.
So it's not too far off.
No.
Our guest shares that they bought the comics when they were 11 or 12 years old and kept them in a box for over 50 years before bringing them to the show. The appraiser discusses the significance of Marvel's Silver Age, which began in 1961, and explains how certain issues became key collector's items due to their historical importance. They highlight key issues in the collection, such as Fantastic Four number 48.
It's the first appearance of Galactus and, more importantly, the Silver Surfer. Fantastic Four 48 is your best book by far.
And Fantastic Four number 52, first appearance of Black Panther, assigning values to each based on their condition, and
The Black Panther is the hottest character right now in the Marvel Universe, easily at auction. This is a $800 to $1,200 comic.
The appraiser conservatively estimates the entire collection to be worth
The entire collection, I think you easily have $30,000 to $40,000 worth of comics here.
noting that certain comics in higher grades could be worth significantly more, with Fantastic Four number 52 potentially reaching $100,000 in mint condition. Here is a white teddy bear with remarkable beauty. The guest found this Steiff bear unexpectedly in a dumpster in Queens, USA. The bear's beautiful white fur, called mohair, comes from the long silky hair of the Angora goat.
What I like about it is it's a white mohair bear.
The teddy bear can be confirmed to have been made in the 1930s because of a red tag behind its ear, showing the production date. Looking closer, we can see its eyes are made of shiny glass.
That was actually right inside the bear. The market is very good for Steiff bears.
This bear is even more unique because the red tag was usually removed at the time of creation. At auction, this very rare teddy bear, found luckily in a dumpster, would sell for Favored by many arts and crafts collectors, this Heinz art metal lamp carries a legacy that dates back to the early 20th century. The lamp, a treasured piece, features a rare original paper label on the bottom, bearing the emblem of Heinz AMS Art Metal Shop from Buffalo, New York. Patented in 1912 by Mr. Heinz, this lamp showcases a unique process of overlaying silver on a bronze base. One of its most charming features is the Japanese-style water lily pattern, elegantly decorating both the base and the shade. In today's market, this Heinz art metal lamp with its unique patina is worth,
but in this condition for a retail price, it's probably about $2,500.
That's good to know.
Claire recounts how she found the table at a garage sale 30 years ago in need of restoration and purchased it for $25. The appraiser identifies the table as a Federal Inlay mahogany demi-lune card table made by John and Thomas Seymour, distinguished cabinet makers from Boston. This table features exquisite craftsmanship, including figured mahogany, intricate inlay work, satin wood decorations, and tapered bellflowers, showcasing the Seymour's skill and attention to detail. Claire reveals that she cleaned the table with linseed oil and turpentine, but didn't refinish it, preserving its old color and character. The appraiser and Leslie expressed their excitement at discovering the table's label.
And Les went up to the label and went and he said, "It isn't, is it?" And I said, "It is." And so it's really one of the most exciting moments I've ever had, Les. Yeah.
The appraiser estimates the table's value to be at
of about $200,000 to $225,000.
Wow.
Okay?
Presented on the show is an antique painting. This guest acquired the painting from her husband's grandmother,
and she gave me all these lovely things, and my little boy with the horn was one of them.
The painting is attributed to William Matthew Pryor. Pryor was an American folk artist known for his portraits, particularly of families and children.
Who was a New England artist. He was born in 1806 and died in the 1870s.
Painted in the 19th century, this visually appealing piece still retains its elegance. Captured in this painting is a boy seated on a chair with a ring on his finger and a horn in one hand. Unfortunately, the painting's frame has been replaced. At auction, this well-preserved painting would fetch a value of,
I would estimate him between $15,000 and $25,000.
Well, wow!
A fabulous bracelet from the Deutsche Bank family brought into the United States in the late 30s from Germany is presented. This bracelet, hidden for about 27 years, is a stylistic transitional piece. Mostly Edwardian, going into Art Deco, this piece has a nice heavy yellow gold band with beautiful vine-like elements made out of platinum, diamonds, and natural pearls holding it. These Burma rubies match each other perfectly as they are jointed, giving them a supple texture. Everything is great with this piece, from quality to the pearls and the design, but it does not have a signature. However, from the design, it was probably made in Germany between 1910 and 1918, but was more expensive at that time. In 2003, America banned Burma rubies from coming into the country after this piece was made, so it is a lovely piece to have at this time. Moreover, when you put this bracelet on before, it undulates like a river, making it all the more magnificent piece to behold. Plus, it comes from a prominent family. Due to its rarity, if it had to be insured, it would probably be insured for...
It has everything going for it. If I had to insure it, I would put probably $20,000 on it.
Here is a ball and a tiny silver bat given to Babe Ruth in 1919 when he made his 29 home runs for the Boston Red Sox. The guest bought this item from an online auction for $1,900. Babe Ruth is considered one of the greatest sportsmen of all time and the greatest baseball player. One of the reasons he was considered the greatest sportsman of all time is because he would have had a Hall of Fame career as a pitcher if he wasn't a slugger. Babe Ruth joined the Red Sox in 1914 as a pitcher and won 20 games in 2 years. His remarkable career ran from 1914 until 1927, when he set a record of 60 home runs that Roger Maris broke in 1961. This award was specially made for him in appreciation for his exemplary career. The flip side of this ball is made of marine ivory, probably walrus, while the little silver bat has engraved upon it 29 home runs and Babe Ruth's name at the back. A reasonable auction estimate for this masterpiece would be
$1,000 to $15,000.
Wow. Terrific. Oh, this is wonderful. A home run.
The guest brought in a beautiful sci-fi art illustration gifted to her by her mother from Mary Binkley, sister to the maker and artist Rick Binkley. In illustration art, there's the popular pinup art and children's book illustration, but sci-fi is an area gaining more ground lately. An interesting thing about this art is that it has a book cover identifying the book's name and who the author is. Another great part of this piece is that they are all from Avalon, a primary publishing art where the author worked. A good thing about the illustration market is that the artist and author both share a 50% value each. It would have been more valuable if it was not B- paperbacks. However, art in its range would be auctioned for.
His range would be between $2,000 and $3,000 at auction. Now these, if we can identify them to a certain book, they'd be the same value.
Brought from a home full of dolls that were bought for $100 per piece, these lovely dolls are presented to the host. The first is an American Griner doll having an original Griner paper label at the back. The Griner Company was established in Philadelphia where beautiful papier-mâché dolls were made. Although Griner dolls are larger, this one has its original painting, nice hairstyle, and nice size. But over the years, her dress has deteriorated. Regardless, she is still worth $1,000 to $1,500 on the market.
But underneath the clothing, there's a body of fabric.
The second one is a French fashion lady doll that generally sells between $4,000 to $6,000. Also, she has good paperweight eyes, a beautiful complexion, and a nice size. Because of her size, she would be worth more than $6,000. This guest won a tracksuit with a script from a charity auction for just $100. The tracksuit was worn by Tony Soprano on the famous Soprano Show, Season 5, Episode 11, titled The Test Dream. The episode featured Tony wearing the tracksuit in a long kitchen scene with Carmela. Another great thing is that the charity auction got the item from the production unit of the show, so it's an original piece. Most of their costumes came with a simple tag, and this tracksuit was no different. The script attached to it is a file copy that was never used for production, but kept as a photocopy of the pilot episode. Currently, the auction estimate range for this tracksuit is $2,000 to $3,000. For the script, a conservative auction estimate would be $1,000 to $1,500.
Wow, I never would have expected that. That's amazing. Wow.
This comfort furniture was acquired by the guest on a distress sale of $150. It was made in Detroit, my Detroit furniture country. This piece of furniture can be called the cantilevered chaise longue with a rare design. It's made for industrial or commercial use because it's constructed with a full steel frame. Looking at the bottom, you can see a scroll, then the frame comes up with the steel sticking out at the side and covered with wicker. Age estimate is around 1890 to 1910, and though faded, it has an original seat that is a wonderful emerald green color. This chaise longue is believed to have come from a sanitarium or retreat. Though it has a label of the Comfort Furniture Company in Detroit, that is not to say that this furniture was not gotten from the sanitarium in Michigan called Battle Creek Sanitarium. Another reason it's believed to be industrial furniture is because there are holes in the legs for it to be bolted to a position. There is a bit of fraying here and there, but it still looks in good shape with a conservative retail price of...
So value on this, we have, all of my colleagues and I got together, and if we saw this in a good antique show, I would expect a retail price to be around about $3,000.
Okay, nice.
Our guest presents a soldier's memorial and a blanket that belonged to their great-great-grandfather, a Civil War veteran. These items were passed down through the family, with the guest receiving them due to their interest in Civil War history. The appraiser explains that while soldier memorials like the one presented are common,
and it's a simple blanket, but it's a very important thing during the Civil War because they ran out of them.
This blanket, referred to as a shoddy blanket, was important during the Civil War due to its scarcity and poor quality, made quickly and in large quantities. The blanket features lines indicating where it could be cut to create two blankets, and a hole for the head, suggesting it was worn as a poncho by the soldier. Despite missing sections and showing signs of wear, the blanket is valued at
full of character, and it would probably retail today for about $2,000.
Wow. Wow, that's really amazing. I would never have guessed that. You know, you're exactly right. I kind of thought this would be the piece that maybe was.
An angelic sculpture gifted to the guest by her employer in the 1980s was brought in. On the back of the sculpture is the title Angel, signed by Oropallo. Sandra Oropallo is an artist still active in the San Francisco Bay Area. This award-winning artist started in 1981 as a student and in 1991 received an award from the National Endowment of the Arts. She is still a very active exhibited artist living in San Francisco Bay. The majority of her works are sold in retail and exhibited in auctions and contemporary art. So, this is a cast concrete sculpture and was deliberately sculpted to look distressed. Because she majorly works on oil paint, if this was in auction, it would be worth.
We would see it at an estimate of $2,000 to $3,000.
Wow, that's very exciting. Very exciting. I'm thrilled.
This 1914 silent film poster reminded the guest of gasoline, so he bought it for $500. It is a movie poster from 1914, one of those movies that are outdated. On it is a record of the director whose name was not mentioned and also the names of the actors. The poster has an interesting message, looking like a story of temperance about anti-drinking, which is not true. But the poster shows a woman who is losing a game of cards and is getting upset. Looking at the diamonds and hearts in the poster, you would think they are hand-drawn, but they are actually lithographs. The interesting part is that it is a bridge poster and a playing card motif. There are no comparables for this kind of piece anywhere, hence it's difficult to put a price on a bridge poster that is out of vogue. If it were a poker or chess image, it would have had an additional value. But as it is, an auction estimate for this piece would be between...
At auction, an estimate for this piece would be between $1,500 and $2,000.
Okay. Well, I did good then.
If it were a poker image, the value would probably be double or triple.
Man, I still love it.
This guest presented two exquisite lace dresses she acquired at an estate sale. The first dress, dating from around 1905, is a classic example of tape lace.
The people I bought them with urged me to buy them, and they were just interestingly made. I'd never seen anything made that way, so I bought them.
It features a high collar, characteristic of the period, and full sleeves that gather at the elbow. The dress showcases a powder pigeon chest design achieved by the corsets of the time that shaped the body into an S-curve, creating a blousy front. This piece was designed as an afternoon tea gown and extends long and straight with a lovely train. The second dress, from about 1925, exemplifies Irish crochet or Irish lace. This type of lace was often shipped to America and distributed in major cities.
It has a waistband that's been changed. It has sort of a big cotton waistband.
Although it has had a modified waistband, it still retains its charm. While less elaborate than some other examples of Irish lace, it is entirely handmade and highly wearable, and at auction, these pieces would sell for...
It has a retail value of about $750.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
So you did very well. Yeah.
Thanks, Mom.
Our guest presents a family heirloom, a front plate for a militia cap, which has been passed down since the late 1700s or early 1800s. They believe it originated from New York and was potentially part of a military uniform. The appraiser confirms that it is indeed a front plate for a militia cap, which would be worn on a felt hat with a plume attached. The plate is made of japanned tin and features an eagle, sunburst, and clouds, all in original paint, which is rare as many similar items have been repainted. The appraiser estimates its value at auction to be at...
Identify you as a member of the militia. I would say at auction, I would put this in at $800 to $1,200.
Oh, wow.
Our guest brought in a set of Beatles dolls that their grandmother bought for them in 1964 or 1965. The dolls are in remarkable condition, especially considered they have detachable instruments which are often lost. Each doll still has its original price tag from Woolworth's, priced at $1.99 each. It's noted that having the complete set of 4 dolls is quite special, as fans would often only have their favorite Beatles doll, such as Paul or George. Without their boxes, the dolls would typically sell for $400 to $600 at auction, but since these are complete with boxes, instruments, and in excellent condition, this Beatles dolls set could easily fetch at...
You're probably looking at between $1,000 and $1,500 at auction.
Okay, I'm happy.
Okay.
Thank you.
Our guest's great-grandmother owned this clock in Colombia, which was later passed down to the guest through their grandfather and father. The clock features calendar rolls with the month and day written in Spanish.
Not on the same trip, but yes.
This clock would have been made for the South American market.
During the 1860s, 1870s, and 1880s, America was a major exporter of clocks, providing affordable timepieces to various parts of the world, including expensive models like this one. The clock features a unique dial format with a blacked-out upper dial with silver figures and...
Bottom dial is glass and it's painted on reverse.
It has a calendar feature that displays the month, day of the week, and day of the month, and it is in excellent condition, except for a missing calendar hand. This clock is perpetual, meaning it automatically adjusts for variation in months and leap years if kept wound and set correctly, making it a standard complicated clock of its time. The model is called the 3½, and it bears the company's trademark engraved on the pendulum bob. At a clock auction, this clock could sell for...
A clock auction, it would probably sell for $2,500.
Wow. Yeah, I would have never guessed that. I would have never guessed that at all. My dad will be happy.
Our guest found a uniform buried in the attic of a house on a farm they bought. The appraiser explains the uniform's historical significance, noting that the former owner was part of a special operation dropped behind enemy lines in Norway during World War II. These operations were dangerous, involving sabotage of railway bridges, intelligence gathering, and other disruptive activities against the Germans. The appraiser notes that most World War II uniforms are not very valuable, usually worth $50 to $100, and that this particular uniform has extensive moth damage. The value of this uniform lies in the insignia on it, particularly the Special Forces SF wing on the shoulder, which is generally British-made and indicates training with the British. This SF wing is heavily faked due to its value, but
because you have a complete grouping where we know for a fact that this is the original wing. In fact, you can see in the photograph that he's wearing the wing in that very same uniform.
The appraiser states that the SF wing alone would have been valued between $1,800 and $2,000 in 2014. Because the uniform is part of a complete grouping with a verifiable history, the appraiser estimates the entire lot's retail value to be at...
A retail value for the entire lot today with the man's identification, I would expect to be between $3,000 and $3,500.
Oh, wow. Thank you. That's pretty good, yes.
Only a few pieces of furniture have the unique characteristics of this antique sideboard. The guest's parents purchased the sideboard in 1975 and passed it on to them. The sideboard, attributed to an early 1800s Quaker cabinet maker named George Wiley, features beautiful figured mahogany veneers. Unique to this piece is a hidden butler's desk within the middle drawer, exemplifying its multifunctional design. The piece can be dated to around 1825, as seen from the shift from intricate inlays to plainer veneers during that period.
Is coming into focus a little bit. The peaked pediment on this kind of recalls the Parthenon, and that sort of like urge for that pure classicism is what we start to see in this period.
The sideboard's Kentucky origins are suggested by the use of poplar and white pine secondary woods.
I think it probably is a Kentucky sideboard.
Oh, cool.
And especially given its retrieval history and where it came from.
Although its sentimental value remains immeasurable, with its historical charm, this sideboard at auction would fetch.
I think on the auction block, it would bring less. It's probably more like a $1,000 to $2,000 piece.
In this guest's hands for 3 decades, these jadeite maidens have a story to them. Originally stored in wooden boxes, the jadeite maidens have been kept away, shielded by tales of their value.
You know, it's a beautiful material. Jadeite is a very luscious stone. It comes in many, many colors.
Unveiled now, these maidens reveal a tale of craftsmanship and allure. Carved from jade, these maidens symbolize purity and nobility.
The stone, jade, symbolized purity, clarity of spirit.
Adorned with peonies representing wealth and righteousness. The lavender hue and apple green accents highlight the exquisite beauty of these maidens. Originating from Burma and crafted for the Western market, the maidens' appeal transcends cultures and time. Despite natural inclusions, the value of these maidens today still soars, and at auction, they would be worth.
These pieces, if they were up at auction, would have a pre-sale estimate of $25,000 to $40,000.
That's amazing.
Hunting for unique pottery tiles at every garage sale she can find, this guest has created a wonderful collection of pottery tiles.
I find them at garage sales. I go out hunting on Friday and Saturday mornings. And these are a group I had bought. I think I left a couple at home, but this is the group I brought today to show you.
These pieces were made by the San Jose Mission Potteries, a group of tile and pottery workshops founded in San Antonio, Texas in the 1930s by Ethel Wilson Harris. Harris was an enthusiast of traditional Mexican art and established the San Jose Potteries, along with 2 other potteries, to provide an outlet for Mexican artisans to produce native-inspired ceramic designs. These tiles exemplify the mission of these potteries. Although they bear no signature or dating, making it difficult to attribute them to one individual artist,
what you have very often, because they're seldom marked, and when they are marked, sometimes either it's with a tag which has come off with the years, or it is like this with the glaze.
They are collectively valuable to Mexicans and would sell at auction for
are roughly in the $600 to $800 range per tile.
For $5,
you did pretty well.
Oh, I think I did. That's great. I'll keep looking.
This guest bought this table in a shop in Toledo.
I bought this table in the early 1990s in a shop in downtown Toledo. Looked at it after work. I said, that's a really unusual table. I asked the guy how much he was asking for it.
It is a Baltimore-style Federal Center table crafted in the late 18th century, featuring a typical veneer-style tabletop with beautiful and delicate inlay on the edges. Made from mahogany wood, the table's legs showcase graduated bellflowers that are sand-burnt. The cuffs on the legs are present on all 4 sides and fairly complete on one leg, while the uneven feel on the underside of the tabletop helps to confirm its production date.
It's smooth, but it's still kind of uneven.
Uneven, right? You're feeling the plane marks from an 18th century plane.
Okay.
This high-quality mahogany Baltimore-style table has an estimated auction value of
would be $8,000 to $12,000. Not bad.
That's good.
$8,000 to $12,000 when you paid $800.
That's right. That's great.
That's a 10 times.
Thank you.
At least 10 times an increase.
He found these toys at his aunt's house and stored them for about 30 years. 1960s Japanese spacemen and robot toys are prized collectibles, reflecting post-war innovation and a fascination with space. Made by TN and Showa, they're divided into 2 basic categories, space astronauts and space robots. Influenced by the space race, these toys often boasted futuristic designs and vibrant colors. On display are a spaceman, highly coveted and collectible, especially in pristine condition. The other significant category comprises robots, with one nicknamed Robbie the Robot. Made from tin, these toys showcased detailed lithography, offering mechanical features like walking, spinning, and lights. They're just some parts that is broken. Transported to a nostalgic era of space exploration, the appraiser valued the items.
Selling at auction for $2,000 to $3,000 a piece.
Wow.
This one would probably be $1,000 to $2,000 because somebody could repair that.
Okay.
When her parents bought their first home, her mother insisted on American early antiques like this chair. The 18th century Windsor chair gained popularity for simplicity, comfort, and durability, originating in England. This lovely oval seat, likely from New England, reveals white pine when inspected underneath. The Windsor rocker, similar to the chair but with added rockers beneath its legs. This crest rail features hickory or ash spindles bending down to a small pillow atop the seat rail. The wood, commonly used in Rhode Island for its hardwoods, appears to be chestnut, fitting for the region. The legs and back typically attach to the seat with mortise and tenon joints for stability. In a tale of 2 centuries, the appraiser valued the item.
You could easily put this chair for about $16,000.
$16,000?
$16,000, yeah.
Wow.
The pocket watch was a gift from the grateful passengers of the Gratitude of Liverpool to her grandfather. An 1860s presentation pocket watch and fob likely epitomized Victorian craftsmanship and style. Pocket watches were symbols of status and sophistication, not just timekeepers. The fob, elegant and functional, secured the watch to a chain in the vest pocket. This is a demi-hunter or half-hunter watch with a small circle cut for quick time checks without lifting the cover. They often added a small enamel chapter ring with Roman numerals, giving the pocket watches a smart look. The inscription honored Jacob Best Davis, first mate of the Fredonia, for rescuing over 300 passengers. A testament to craftsmanship and elegance, the appraiser valued the item.
So I think a fair auction estimate would be $4,000 to $6,000.
Wow.
Their house burned down, they rebuilt, and at the housewarming, friends gifted them this object. A gilt bronze plateau from around 1810 would likely be exquisite decor. Gilt bronze was favored for luxurious decorative items during that period, often in furnishings. A plateau is a raised surface for displaying decorative objects used as a centerpiece. It was used for displaying a variety of fruits and ceramic figures with wheels attached to its base. The Anthemions were bronze cast pieces with surfaces adorned through fire gilding using mercury and gold. Pieces like these often featured intricate designs, including motifs from mythology, flora, fauna, or geometric patterns. Amidst the antique clutter, the appraiser valued the item.
We would give this an auction estimate of $50,000 to $70,000.
Oh my gosh, John. Oh my gosh, John. No. No. Oh, you give me shivers.
Displayed before us are 2 pottery plaques. The guest parents arrived with items from Pollard. These plaques were crafted by a company called Rosenberg.
Made absolutely beautiful, wonderful, both porcelains and pottery. And these here are pottery.
We can further authenticate the items by observing the maker's mark on the back. Made circa 1885 to 1913, these plaques boast Art Nouveau designs.
At the same time, they were inspired by batik printed fabrics from the Dutch East Indies.
A design that was in vogue around the time these items were made. Art Nouveau designs consisting of flowers, rich green-colored leaves, and grape designs. It's amazing that these items are in such good condition, even though they were made a long time ago. These 2 plaques are in good condition. At auction, they are estimated to be worth...
So collectively, you're talking about $2,000 or $3,000.
Oh, thank you. I didn't even realize nothing about them, and this is really wonderful to know.
Before us is a beautiful portrait of 2 children a boy and a girl. The guest inherited this folk art portrait from her grandmother. It shows the guest's grandmother's older brother and sister. The guest's childhood story that a man named Seward made this portrait is untrue. It was actually made in the 1840s by Joseph Whiting Stuck, an American painter known for his portraits, landscapes, and miniatures. He often painted children.
Well, I have no idea.
He often painted children. Looking closely, we can see the children holding fruits, a common detail in Whiting's portraits. The guest relined and renovated the portrait, which affects its value.
Had a special wheelchair made for him so he could travel around and paint.
Because purists and connoisseurs often judge paintings on their originality, which this artwork lacks now. In reflection of the quality of this portrait and its maker's reputation, despite slight renovation, it could still sell for.
In consultation with my colleagues, we all agreed that a good auction estimate for this painting would be $20,000 to $30,000.
You're kidding.
No, I'm not kidding.
That's interesting.